Her pronouns are she and her.
Her pronouns are pow
we-
and punch. So I would just pick up the book.
Yeah.
I would read the back side and then interpolate the story. You know? So I would just go like, oh yeah. And then this monkey come by and she's like, monkey? Monkey? I was like, yeah. It was a spider monkey actually. You know, like, and
I started crying and I'm like, okay, I don't care. And I opened a window and I threw out my notebook from like a third floor. And the notebook was flying.
yeah, look at that. By the way, how do you get the title of headmaster?
You have to be a master at head. What am I? English is not my first language. I don't know what I'm saying.
I realized that people would be around me or like me not for what I do, but for who I am.
Who are you, Richard? Could you explain? Yeah, let's do intros. Okay, so I did my intro. You heard about me, so let's talk about Richard. Who are you, Richard?
Oh man, you know what I'm saying like that.
Welcome to Brolish, the podcast where we talk.
It's the only one offering this sort of services.
Yeah, we try to make it funny, but
Yeah,
don't expect too much.
We're in episode 3. We had a very nice feedback from episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, the episode 2 just from me because I'm the only one that listened to it so far. And I think we should do intros.
Yes.
So yeah, let's do intros.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Łukasz. I'm from Poland.
Hi, I'm Richard. I'm from Brazil.
Yeah, and I was talking about the village because I'm from a small town and sometimes I just say I'm from a village. I'm from a small town, Karpacz, in the mountains.
Karpacz.
Yeah, that's the name of the town.
What's the like traditional food from your town?
There is no traditional food from my town, but
What do you mean?
no,
Like
it's
from
a
the
small
region?
town, from the Polish traditional dishes. So like pierogi is one example.
All right. Can
Yeah.
you describe a pierogi?
Pierogi in German it's Maultaschen, and in English dumplings. Yeah.
So
And,
it's basically Polish dumplings.
Polish dumplings, yeah.
Mm.
Funnily enough, in Poland they are called Russian pierogis, the most traditional one. But now people are trying to change the name to Ukrainian pierogis because they are very similar as well. And the filling is with cheese, like cottage cheese, and potatoes and onions. That's how
very
my
nice.
grandma does it. That's how we do it. And the Ukrainian pierogi, they don't have the cheese, so it's potatoes and onion, I believe. So there is slight difference. Slight difference. And yeah, so I'm from Poland, and yeah, I was always a nerd at school. I was really surprised that no one really bullied me, you know?
I think you need it. I think you should have been bullied a little bit more.
Exactly. I feel like I wasn't bullied enough, you know? Like the biggest bullying that I got was people tickling me till I was lying down on the floor.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
That was the top-notch bullying. So no teeth that I lost, you know?
On fights?
I remember one fight and...
You had a fight?
Yeah, there was... yeah.
What was that? Did you guys
fight.
pet each other's hair or some shit like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I threw maybe one punch. Maybe I received one punch, then I was on the floor, and then it ended. Like, it ended as soon as it started.
Was there tears?
I think I was crying more than the situation maybe than the pain.
Like the emotional stress of a fight.
Yeah.
Łukasz is a very sensitive man.
I think I am.
Yeah. You are a very sensitive man.
Yeah, so I never wanted to get in the fights. So yeah, but one time I got like this I remember, but I have no idea what it was.
What
all
was
about.
it with a girl, with a guy? Do you remember?
It was with a guy. Yeah, maybe I remember the guy.
Can we say what's his name? Can we tell him fuck off? Do you know if he's still alive?
I think he is still alive. But I'm not even sure if it was him.
Guy, you that punched Łukasz. Fuck you.
You know who you are. Yeah, but I didn't get in trouble for that. But I got in trouble once for actually play fighting. So I had like my best friend in primary school. And then we were just like in the corridor. There was no one there. And it was after school and we were just hanging out. And then we were like, yeah, let's do this, I don't know, fighting scene from a movie. And then we did it. And as soon as we started, a teacher came from around the corner.
Wait a minute. For which movie though? Because maybe did you two take your clothes off and start fighting like wrestling on the ground? Was that kind of movie?
Yeah, it was Fight Club. Let's not talk about this. We cannot talk about the film.
By the way, this is the longest intro I've ever seen.
That's the end of the intro. It's too long.
No, I'm joking.
Finally, I'm sharing my stories. So thank you for your feedback, everyone, from the first episode. That Richard has too long stories. So today I'm trying to compensate in the intro.
Yeah, it's my fault for being interesting. I'm sorry, people.
We would like to apologize for Richard and his interesting stories from Brazil. Yeah, all the drama, it's based on real life.
It's real life, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so my teacher comes from around the corner and she just notices it and she's like, oh, you cannot do this. And like, we both got into trouble. Like, she was
what kind of trouble? Did you got like a day sent back home, like suspended for a little bit? She spanked you. She says, who's a bad boy? This was that she did?
I think she just wrote something in her notebook saying that we are bad, and she was shouting at us. She was really angry. She was really angry at us.
All right, that's trouble.
And I think she might have told our parents. This I'm not sure actually, but
how old were you?
7 or 8.
Oh my god, dude. I mean, the level of distress of my life compared to your life is such an interesting thing. Because, you know,
that's true,
teachers getting angry at me and writing my names on books were basically my everyday life.
Right, yeah.
That was like, you getting in trouble that is so much trouble that you remember for the rest of your life was my every day. Yeah.
That's why.
Wild.
That's why I was not interrupting your stories because I was hearing them for the first time. So I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. I think like I didn't got bullied a lot in school. I think I remembered the few times I got bullied because I think I was too busy bullying.
Right. Yeah, you told me this. You were the bully of the bullies.
Yeah, I love bullying bullies. Yeah.
Yeah, you were the Batman that didn't wear the cape.
No, I always had a very large group of friends, and like we really. The thing, I always had a bunch of cousins in the same school, so we're kind of like we had a network around the school. So we had like my friends and then my cousins' friends from the other room, so people couldn't mess with us. So because otherwise, you know, they get beaten up afterwards. Right. And so one bully, it's always was not enough, you know, because we were a family of bullies. Basically, what I'm saying is that we run a mafia in the school. Yeah, it's very nice. I was studying with my cousin Daniela. She's way bigger than everybody else. You know, she was really a strong lady. Okay. And her favorite move was the standard kick to the nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, and and the good thing is that she could kick girls too because she's a girl. So
okay, so yeah, she could bully everyone. Okay.
Everyone. It was
and she was the biggest
because
girls grow up faster at some point.
Exactly, and she was very bulky and a strong lady, and you know she played football. She was one of the boys, literally. I think if it was 2024, she would have been identified as a man.
If she decided to, okay,
of course,
let's keep it in her hands, okay?
Of course.
Till it's his hands, okay? Like
of course.
yeah.
I mean, she's of course. I mean, she's lesbian. She's now dating a very nice lady. I think they're almost married or marrying or something. So they have a very beautiful life. But she was wild. Actually, she is now, I think, driving a truck. So she literally embraces all the lesbian stereotypes. You know, like she does. What's the name of that thing? Domestic violence.
I don't think
she drives the truck. She beats her wife. It's great. She's a very fun lady.
Her pronouns are she and her.
Her pronouns are pow and punch.
We respect the pronouns pow and punch. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get in trouble, right? I was a nerd.
I was a nerd. Oh my god.
Let me do my intro, okay?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm running this episode. I took some notes what we want to talk about. So yeah. I was always a nerd, a sensitive nerd. Yeah, I was always good at maths. That's what I like to do.
Did you write poetry?
Not really.
No?
No.
Did you play chess?
I played some chess, yeah. I
Were
played
you
chess. But my thing, Rubik's Cube. Like, this is what I was doing in high school. So, I was the nerdy kid.
The funny thing for me in the spectrum of interest, Rubik's Cube is in the exact opposite side of boobs. Like in every single aspect of it. So I guess you're not very good with the girls.
I've solved the Rubik's Cube so many times before I have seen my first boob. Like, it was like years away.
That is very nice because I still to this day haven't solved a single Rubik's Cube in my life.
Don't worry, tried. Richard. This will come to you. You know, first Rubik's Cube and then the boobs. You know, it's how like
I can't wait.
It's how things should be.
I can't wait, dude. I can't fucking wait.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah. Okay. So my last story from school. Okay. So
all right. Yeah. School story.
When I moved to a middle school, I suddenly it's harder than primary school. In primary school, I had the best grades. In middle school, suddenly, like
Łukasz, explain to the folks at home why middle school is harder than primary school.
Because I went to middle school in another town, which was also meant to be better as well in some way.
That's nice.
And some teachers were assholes.
Really?
Yeah, but some were nice. And but my Polish teacher, I quite liked her. Like, but
Polish
the way
is very hard.
At some point she was going a bit crazy, but she was giving us homework every
day.
Every day, yes. And
all right.
But the way she would check the homework is she would ask you to read it out loud.
Okay.
And then what I would do is I would not really write the homework, and when she would ask me, I just stood up and then was reading from my notebook, pretending I'm reading, but I was just making the stuff up. And it just worked. I realized it just works this way.
That's how you started your comedy career?
That's how I was preparing for impromptu, talking.
This is very interesting because I had a very similar experience. Like my parents would make me read books per week. Like every week we'll have a book. And like I didn't want to read books. I wanted to play video games, like I bought the video game with my own work. So I felt like I was entitled to it. I was like 14 or something. So one thing that I noticed, maybe a bit younger, is that my parents weren't reading the books that they were telling me to read, so I could just make up stuff.
Right.
So they were like, "Oh, Richard, so now it's Saturday. It's the day that we had the family meeting. We all sit together and gather, and like my mom reads from this like etiquette book.
Okay.
And she'll give us like, okay, you are putting your." Like she would tell us how to behave properly in bed, in table, and this kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then, but it was my turn to fucking present the book that I read. So I would just pick up the book.
Yeah.
I would read the back side and then interpolate the story. So I would just go like, oh yeah. And then this monkey come by, and she was like, monkey. Monkey. I was like, yeah. It was a spider monkey, actually. And it was a book about fucking some moral thing. And she was like, but then what did the monkey do? So the monkey treated his friends with respect. And she goes, oh yeah, that's it. So I was just reading.
So maybe she read some of those books. So maybe a long time ago.
Nah.
Maybe never. No. Okay. She
just skipped it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I ended up reading a few, but like they really got boring very quickly.
Yeah.
When you have Gran Turismo 3, and you can play it for like 5 hours in a row,
right?
And it's all one single endurance race. Oh yeah, that was the best.
Yeah,
was the best.
Yeah, I was not good with homework as well, so I was trying to avoid it as much as possible. Like I would read magazines about video games, and then when my dad would come into my room, I would have my notebook, pretending I was doing homework. So that was
such a good boy, dude. Look at you. That's very nice, dude. That's very nice.
I was gaming as well as a kid, but the story is that. The teacher at the end of the year, she was like, if your grade is not decided yet by the grades, because she doesn't know which grade to give you, she would collect those people's notebooks to check for their homework. And at the end of the year, she took my notebook, and there was nothing. For half a year, there was no homework whatsoever. So she gave me like the lower grade, you have like out of 6, she gave me a 3, which 6 is the best. Yeah. So I used to get just 5 and 6 in primary school. Then in middle school, I had 5s and some 4s I was not too happy with, but it was my first grade 3, third. Yeah.
Okay, so like for the people in the audience that are taking notes of Łukasz traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
Traumatic experience number 1. My teacher wrote on my book that I was a bad boy. That was very bad.
It was so bad.
Traumatic experience number 2. Yeah. I got a 3 instead of a 6. Oh no! In Polish language?
Yeah, in Polish language. My life was ruined. And I was like, I started crying in front of her, and I'm like, what? There is no chance that I'm getting a 3. A 4. I wanted to get a 4. Yeah. Because I calculated, my averages from both years.
Because I'm good at numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I calculated it from, the first semester I had a 4, and then in second semester I had between 3 and 4, but closer to 4. So I thought, you round it up to 4. And she was like, no, there is no chance. I'm gonna give you a 3. You don't have any homework. And I was like, oh no. I started crying, and I'm like, okay, I don't care. And I opened a window and I threw out my notebook from like a 3rd floor. And the notebook was flying.
Yeah, look at that. I can see the camera panning, and then there's like camera from the window, and then Łukasz growing towards the camera, and he walks in very determined, and he goes, you know what? I don't care. And he just fucking throw the notebook out of the window, and then the pages explode. And then like they fall over, and the teachers are in the background crying. It's like, I care for you.
Yeah, my teacher was not crying. It was a cinematic scene. And then I just wanted to leave the class, and my teacher is like, no, you stay here. You go right away, pick up the notebook, and come back to me. We're gonna go to the headmaster. So I was taken to headmaster after this, and that's...
By the way, how do you get the title of headmaster?
You have to be a master at head. What am I... English is not my first language. I don't know what I'm saying.
No, headmaster is correct. It's just I'm thinking if he's good at blowjobs.
Is this what it means?
I'm sorry. That's horrible. I'm sorry. No, I take it back.
That's the level of comedy of Richard.
Yeah. Right. That's a low brown shit that I do.
So anyway, some of my teachers, when I visit my high school, because it was in the same building as middle school, like they sometimes remember this story.
Because it was the most rebellious thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, because I snapped. I finally snapped. So
that was the moment that Łukasz became the Joker. We live in a society, but fuck this. He didn't say fuck. He said freak this. Here's your notebook, and then throw it out the window.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. So
Dude, I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I learned very early that grades do not matter.
Okay.
I was just like, I never gave a fuck.
Yeah.
You know,
in high school, I
yeah.
also stopped caring because I also realized
it doesn't make any
I focus
fucking
on what
difference.
I want to learn, and that's what I was doing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then it doesn't make any fucking difference. Like the grading systems and the way that people are evaluated, it's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. You know, like I talked about this before with a friend, and it's the fact that intelligence it's always multidimensional. You know, that we have people who are very smart in certain aspects and then have troubles with another one. And I had people in my life like that who had excellent people skills, naturally smart, emotions, deal very well with this stuff. And then if you had to vacuum clean the house, then the vacuum cleaner unplug, they will continue because they're just in another world. So I think some people think about things in a parallel way. So how is this connected to everything else, and look at things as a large spectrum. Some people are very good at focusing on a very specific column and then going as deep as they can on that thing.
Okay, and what did you do? You focused
I feel like I'm more the creative parallel thinking kind of guy. So I like solving problems in multiple aspects instead of like focusing on one and getting hyper like
focused on one
hyper specialized. I feel like you are more that kind of guy.
I really like mathematics. Like that was the only thing that kind of made sense to me,
right?
Because all the other things, it just seems this whatever, people are defining some concepts.
No, I loved this stuff, and I remember for high school I had a philosophy teacher. She was really hot. She was the only teacher that I would sit on the first row, so I could look at her. She was very hot, and I remember that she was talking about Marx.
Okay.
And we had a geography teacher that was teaching us European history, and I remember being pissed that they wouldn't put the things together. Because they were talking about the USSR and how the Mother Russia became Mother Russia and the fall of Soviet Union and this kind of stuff, and on the other class, we're talking about communism and Marx and this kind of shit, and they wouldn't talk, they wouldn't like make things together, and I was like, guys,
this
is the same shit, you know, like why are we having it separate? Like if they were contained in boxes. So in my head, things were not like boxed out. I love looking at them in a general thing. So we had you
knew the connections between the two, and you were surprised that people are that they are not teaching it in this way.
I hated that things were so compartmentalized on schools, because like we had history, and then we had the history of Brazil, and then history of South America separate subjects. Wow. Like we had two teachers.
Oh, okay.
And then like, because they were literally just go, okay, what are the topics that we have to teach this year, and then they would just separate the topics in whichever way they felt. So the teacher that taught us about this history of South America was different from the one that taught about history of Brazil, because history of Brazil was 6 months, and history of America, of the Americas, got together with the world history, and it was another 6 months. So they put it separately, and I was like, why? Why? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's right.
So I really like that stuff, and I wasn't good at grades because I didn't fucking care. But all the teachers really liked me because I loved learning. And that was one of the very important things why I it was actually good that I got expelled from my public school in high school on the first year. And then I had to go to the private one. Was the first time in my life I actually had a good teacher, like teachers that would care. And like there were people, because our teachers were kind of like this weird sort of like persona of what a person actually is. They would adopt a persona, like your teacher. Like, what the fuck? It's clear that you're a smart kid. It's clear that you knew what you're talking about. You know,
I just didn't do homework. Yeah, who cares?
Exactly.
I was always
That's
had
what
my
I think.
reply ready.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
who the fuck? Why does that matter?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to create some kind of a system. It makes sense, but I agree on that point that teachers should be really more understanding and try to figure out what the kids want to learn and notice the good aspects and as long as they want to learn, I think it's good, let them learn, try to pass on the knowledge that you have.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting, because we had just one history lesson, right? Maybe just once a week, first of all, but just combined like Polish and international history. But we would do it for 3 years in middle school, right? And the problem was that in first year we would start with Egypt. And then by third year, we should be doing kind of modern, Second World War. But there was barely any time. So the last thing that we would do was Second World War, and we would do nothing afterwards, pretty much.
Yeah, and who cares?
Yeah. Who cares about this? And then even this was like very fast. So I thought it was also...
No, we had a lot.
Peculiar.
We had a lot. And I remember, I really liked history. So for me, it was mathematics, number one. I really loved it because we had a very cool teacher. So nowadays, looking at him, I realize he was just a bum. But like, me as like a 16-year-old kid, 17, like that, he would give us like exercises on the. Yeah. He would put it on the blackboard, and then the motherfucker was just sitting there, and he had like a cool vest.
Okay.
There was like, imagine you cut the leather jacket arms and it's just the center.
He was a cool guy.
You would sit over there and then out of the blue, we're all like trying to solve this fucking geometry problem or whatever. And we're there and then he would just go, and he had like a fucking harmonica. And he would play harmonica in the middle of the class. Just like, kids, you do your thing. I'm doing my own thing over here, And he would just go like, and like play blues and shit like that. And I was like, yeah, this is the guy, dude. He was awesome.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
Such a great
he had long hair, he was crusty, he would never shower. I was like, that's the guy. That's the fucking guy.
Yeah, great soundtrack for solving some mathematics.
Actually, like in mathematics, I always had good grades because they were very objective, because mathematics is much more objective. So you either solve the thing or you don't solve the thing, so it's much easier to understand. But it's not fair to just separate people that much. But I don't care. Switzerland have very weird systems,
way of separating people.
Yeah, because they have like tiers. So they go like which like, I don't know. We have to need a Swiss person to talk about it, but they have this separation of like, okay, you're not so bright. You study to be a mechanic or like a gardener.
Yeah. And there are different types of schools. Way more than there
and
is
only
in Poland.
The A guys get to try to go to the university, and then you have the B and C. Yeah.
I was talking to someone yesterday after the show, and this is what they were saying, that only like top people go to universities, all the other people they don't. And so then actually, like, if Swiss people would try to go outside of Switzerland, then it's hard. Like, it's hard for them maybe if they don't have university, because
absolutely,
if you want to get
it's very interesting, dude.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I find very cool about being here is that there are some people that I meet here, by here I mean in Europe, because I was in Italy before, that even though we grew up in completely separate and different worlds.
Separated by the ocean.
But not only that, by like cultural differences, by like economical differences, by like life quality, everything. I would say that almost every single variable on that is different.
It is. Even sun is on the northern side when it's the noon.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you are used to. Like the sun traveling in the other direction. How do you copy with that?
I am not joking. You are joking, but I'm not.
No.
When I came here first time, I was like, why the fuck
sun goes in the other way.
Yeah, and why the fuck the sun doesn't go all the way above your head? Because I'm so close to the equator.
Yeah.
We get the sun there at midday. And midday the sun was there, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
And then this is
the world ending now?
And I was like, this is stupid. These guys don't know what sun is. You know, like this sun I like. The one we have home, it sucks. You know, it's so hot. It will kill you. Yeah. I always had like the tin that looked like Neapolitan ice cream, you know, like chocolate, strawberry and vanilla. So like my
the
forearms,
ice cream you had what?
Yeah,
the tan,
it's called Napoleon ice cream. Okay. So the tan would be like from my elbow down, chocolate. This little piece over here will be pink. So it's like ice cream, and then all the rest vanilla. You know, because it's like the length of the shirts that I would use. Right. I would never use long shirts, so my hands were always dark. Right. And then you had like this three color tan. Yeah. So this was something interesting. The other thing which I learned in Europe, which is very good that I learned, is seasonal depression. I thought like, this is bullshit. These people are just a bunch of, you know, sissies. What are you talking about? Yeah. There's no sun, so now you're sad.
Yeah,
what
but
the fuck?
But in Brazil you have sun like the whole
we have
year.
2 seasons in my area. It's hot and hot with rain, and then you have like one cold month in July, which is 18 degrees Celsius, and everybody's like, oh my god, we're gonna fucking die. And then we warm up cachaça and drink warm cachaça, like a glühwein, but glue cachaça. So like, yeah, I was going somewhere with this shit. Oh yeah,
the sun.
There's sometimes, even though we have such different come from different places, sometimes I meet people that I felt like I would have grown up with. Yeah, you know, like we're the same people. And like Victor Patrascan, he talks about that a lot. He says like we're all the fucking same, regardless of the country, regardless of all these differences. We focus too much on the difference. We're all the same kind of people. And then he says like there's like 7 types of people. He says, or 11 types of people, he says. And
depending on which book he read, and probably he didn't even read the book, right?
Right.
He's a smart guy, so probably just like you read the...
Yeah, we should bring him here and he defends himself. But what I'm saying is that, like, I think when I met you, when we met each other, I wasn't sure, like... If we grew up together, we probably wouldn't have been friends, because I would bully you.
Right.
Right away.
Wait, so you are the bully that I never had.
I was the one that should get your self-awareness in check. Because right now you're just like, yeah, who cares? I can do whatever. Which is great. Yeah. Which is great.
I think I'm normal. That's the
thing. Is I didn't get to be whoever I wanted to be. You know, because if I cried in class, I'll get beaten up for being a fucking F word. I didn't say it this time.
I'm not gonna bleep anything this time, I hope.
No. And then, so it's like I couldn't be myself because you had no freedom to be yourself, because if you were, people would bully you. Right. So there were like very strong stereotypes that you had to follow and shit like that. And that's like took me years of therapy to figure it out. So do you remember when we met?
Yeah, we met in Kontiki bar after the show.
Dude.
Or in a break. We both must have been doing a set, right?
It was exactly, I think so.
It was in December.
I remember that I found you so funny, dude. I was so happy with your set. You did a joke that didn't work. But I was so happy, not because it didn't work, but because I liked the joke so much.
Right. So it was my second time on stage, actually.
Yeah,
must have been.
And you had like this joke, which I still remember it.
Yeah, which you said last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About the water. Every cell phone is waterproof if the water is cold enough.
Oh, not too many Eskimos in the crowd.
Yeah, but you had the Eskimos in the crowd at that time. It was something that came afterwards. Yeah, the joke was that. It was that, and you staring at the crowd going, and like going over everybody's head. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was so funny, dude. It was so funny. Yeah.
Some of my jokes worked, but you did very well that night. And it was also one of your first nights. Or
Nah.
was it your first?
No, I think maybe it was like the
December.
second or third time at Contiki, but I started in end of October, beginning of November, and then you started December.
Yeah,
So
I
we're all
had my
very
first time in October, and then after 2 months I had my second mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very similar then. We started basically at the same time.
Yeah.
I had a very weird first 2 months in stand-up because I think you get a pass because you're a beginner, and people get to know that you're a beginner, so they are much more prone to laugh. So I had this illusion that I was like, oh, I'm fucking great, because the first 2 months I killed every single time.
Yeah.
For my perspective, right? So of course I was doing well, but for reasons that they're not that I'm great, but for different reasons. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm great. I'm the best.
Yeah.
And then I had a show which is like I bumped so hard that that I wasn't sure if I should ever come back.
Okay, what was the show?
Well, it was a show on a place called Cafe Hardy.
Yeah.
And we had a host who didn't do a very good job at the beginning. Like the audience was very tense because I don't know, he sucked. It was one of those days in which he just didn't work.
Yeah.
And he put me to open. And I was preparing for the Comedy Basel Championship.
Okay,
and
you were already preparing.
Right. And at that time I had 10 minutes.
Okay.
So 5 on top, 5 on the bottom.
Yeah.
And I had 5 minutes of the retired jokes. The jokes that were like too sexual or too shit that would never work, that I would put in between the other 5 minutes. But I separate. So it was like I had A material, B for my standards, which are shit, by the way.
Yeah, after 2 months you have 10 minutes, you're saying. Yeah.
15,
okay. 15, yeah.
Which is 3. But in my head I was like, fuck this is awesome, dude.
Right, yeah.
And then I did only my C material, so like only the sex jokes, only the jokes that never worked. So I ate, oh my god, it was painful. It was like literally cringe. You would feel the pain of being on stage. And we had other comedians there that was the first time of them seeing me. Yeah. And they're hearing like, oh, there's this Brazilian guy who comes in and he kills every time. Yeah. And then I come in and I eat shit. Yeah. And he was like, this guy? This guy?
This guy, yeah.
This guy is terrible.
Yeah.
I remember it was my whole set just me saying I'm horny.
Yeah.
I would just go there and say, guys, I suffer from a condition and I'm just horny all the time. Because I come from a long line of horniness. My mom's horny, my father's horny, my brother's horny. We had a parrot that fucked our dog. You know.
Even my bull is horny because it has horns.
Oh my god, it was really bad.
Yeah, so
exactly like this joke. Yeah.
So it was as bad as this joke, but like after 2 months you realized, actually comedy is not as easy as you thought.
No, because then I didn't have the novelty on my side anymore. Yeah. You know, like
But for me it was a very similar experience. So you saw me on my second mic and I thought, oh wow, actually, people are laughing at my jokes, even like if the joke is not so funny, I just make a long break, people start laughing because I'm just awkward there, and that's the way it works. And my first like 6 or 7 mics, I was also just like having better and better response to whatever I was doing. I was also trying new stuff all the time. Yeah. And then maybe 7th time I came up with a new set. I did it and I did really well. One of the jokes was the chess joke. And I thought, wow, this is great. It's working so well in Bonnie Prince in this small room. And I'm like, yeah, I can do this thing. So then I tried to do the same set at a show that Ahmed hosted, fundraiser for the earthquake because of Turkey. You were there, yeah?
You ate shit.
Yeah, and I bombed so hard. I bombed so hard. Everyone else was doing great. Like everyone had their good material because it's this fundraiser show, and my material killed like a few nights before, and then I'm there and I'm just bombing.
Yeah.
No one is laughing. A couple of people chuckled at some of the jokes. That was it. And I was like, shit, it's hard. I cannot do this. I'm not sure if I should keep doing it.
I don't know how interesting this is for the audience, because I don't know if they want to do comedy or if they like comedy or not. But like I'm just saying, because I don't know. But like, if you guys want us to talk more about our comedic experiences, let us know on the comment. Then we do want to talk more about that. Otherwise, we just keep going with our lives.
Exactly. Yeah. Please tell us what you like and what you don't like, because we got some feedback, and I think it's good feedback. So we're trying to incorporate it. Yeah.
It was really nice. Yeah. There was one thing that like I wanted to say that this week I started the process of actually finishing my psychological therapy treatment.
Right.
After 5 years. So now I'm like going away from that.
Yeah. Ending therapy.
Yeah, and it's kind of fucking scary.
I can imagine.
Do you do therapy still?
No, I did twice in my life, and
2 sessions or twice?
No. Twice. One time 10 sessions, and the other time I did for a year. And with my therapist that I did for a year, which was like 2 years ago. We had like a clear goal of what I should achieve, and the goal has been shifted a few times during the process, but then like after like around a year, we decided, okay, like now I figured out how to work in a way that I'm not being burnt out, and and other things that were bothering me in my life. So
all right, that's nice.
Then, like, there was a clear conclusion that we had.
Yeah, mine was a very difficult.
But your therapy was so long, so I don't know.
Because I had a lot of shit to deal with, dude. It was a lot of shit to deal with. My goal was to be happy. So it took 5 years for me to like wake up and the sun to be shining, like. And now I do. Now it's like, I was even talking to my friend about this the other day, like about, I woke up like in November, and my life was just falling apart. It still is. But like, in practical terms, if you look at in terms of practicalities, money on the bank, permit on the, passport on the table, permit of stay, this was all gone.
Yeah.
But I was so happy. I felt something that I didn't know what the fuck it was. I was like, what is this feeling? Like, what is this? It's like, why am I smiling? Why am I singing around the house? Why am I retarded? Like, what's going on? And it turns out I was just happy.
Yeah, you're doing what you love, which is comedy.
Not only that, it was the first time in my life in which I felt truly supported. Like, I had friends who truly cared. And like people who got together and tried to help, and like everything around me was nice, except for the practicalities of having a job and a place to stay. But like everything else was nice and felt so good. And then I started figuring it out. What was it? What was behind it?
Yeah.
What exactly was behind it?
What was it?
Well,
the support system you created. But what is behind the support system?
Well, it's a very healthy thing, which is difficult to put in words. But the thing is, I realized that people would be around me or like me, not for what I do, but for who I am.
Who are you, Richard? Could you explain? Yeah, let's do intros. Okay, so I did my intro. You heard about me, so let's talk about Richard. Who are you, Richard?
No, man. You know what I'm saying? Like the philosophical who I am. Like the I thought that you could only be happy or make people happy if you do things for them.
Yeah,
and that creates a lot of pressure on any relationship, because sometimes, regardless of what we do, you know, people might not just like us, or I wouldn't allow myself to not like people, or wouldn't allow people to not like me. So I would try really fucking hard. I would cook, I would do this, I would do that, you know, like I would try my best, and I was having a lot of dates and going out with a bunch of women and doing a bunch of shit, and then trying, not a bunch, maybe 2 or 3, but you know what I mean.
Last Monday.
Yeah, shut up, dude.
2 or 3.
Shut the fuck up. That's not true. I'm just saying.
It's not too far from true.
It is far from the truth.
Is,
shut up.
It is my comedic input, you know.
Don't listen to him, people. Okay, don't listen. It's not true.
Please listen to Richard. People. Okay.
No, dude. It's just like it sounds kind of cliche, and that's why we walk over it. But I learned that just being myself is enough.
Yeah.
And that's where the therapy got to. So I got to that point, and that was the point that I learned, like that you can be happy for free, meaning you don't have to suffer to be happy, and you don't have to necessarily do things to be happy, and you can detach your actions from the results most of the times, because sometimes you do everything you can and fail.
Yeah.
Because there's a large part of it that is not in your control. So the only thing that is under your control is how you is your perspective over things. So I changed my perspective over things in a way that's like, I do what I can, I am who I am, and I strive to be as honest and as authentic as I can be. And then whoever doesn't like it, boh, che cazzo. It's not my problem, because I did it. This is who I am.
Yeah, you did what the most you could do and what you wanted to do. Well, yeah,
that's the next thing.
You do things that are according to how you feel,
That's
how you think about things.
Yeah, that's the next thing. And I think, like, as we're talking about the way that we grow up, you know, in which you could be yourself, and then nobody would bully you, or nobody would, like, the worst case scenario is a teacher write on a book, like, oh, Łukasz is being a mean boy. You know, like, the consequences for me being myself were much more traumatic growing up.
Right. Yeah,
right. Because, like,
the stakes were higher.
Even being smart, I had to pretend to be dumb because I was afraid of overshadowing other people. So I would literally get bad grades on purpose, you know, like pretend that I didn't understand my parents, because at a certain point I realized they're limited, and because of their education, and that they're amazing people. But I was like, if I tell them that I know,
it's better to pretend that you don't know, that you don't get it.
Right, and that was the pretending.
Because I also realized at some point that it's not so important to always be right. Like, even if you are, you don't have to really rub it into others people's face.
That's, for me, that's a different thing, which is like, my mom always used to say that. Do you want to be right or be happy? And I thought this was true, but you can be right and happy once you detach your happiness from others. So if the person saying something that you know is clearly wrong, and you're gonna jeopardize your happiness by trying to tell him, then don't. Then you can be both right and happy, because it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So it's like, you don't need to be right or happy. You can be both. You just need to put your happiness on the right place, which is inside. So it took me so long to learn this shit, because I was so tuned in others. I got so good at saying what others wanted to hear, not what I wanted to say, because that's how Brazil works. You know, like, so that's how my life in Brazil worked. So I got so good at seeing exactly, okay, if I say this, that person's going to be very, very happy. So this is what I think really helped my stand-up at the beginning, because I was literally going off vibes. I'll look at the audience, see how I feel, and be like, they want me to say this. And that's why my material at the beginning, they're so hacky. They're so relatable, because this is what I thought the people want to hear. And indeed, this is what the people want to hear. So they go like, So now what I'm struggling to is to change my material in something that is more authentic, more unique to who I am, and more unique to my vision. while still being funny. And that's why doing comedy is hard. And at the beginning, I was like, that's easy. You just say Swiss people are boring, and then everybody goes, you know. You say, after 10, or you say, I'm from Brazil, I'm horny, and everybody goes, yeah. So I'm trying to walk over that.
Right, yeah. But this is something I'm working on as well, for sure. And something that I realized in my therapy, that I was always the well-behaved kid, you know. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I was always behaving nice. I was telling people the things that I thought they want to hear. So, yeah, kind of like a people pleaser. So kind of sounds similar to what you were going through. And, but now I'm realizing as well, like also in therapy, this is what I went through, is that, I can just be myself, you know, say the things I want to say. It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And as you said, the consequences are not so bad. Like now, no one will gonna write a note in the notebook that I threw a notebook through the window.
Yeah, man. Nowadays, I throw notebooks through the window every day. I don't care.
The paper planes are for the poor people. I live in Switzerland now, so I'm just throwing one notebook after another. Of course, I buy the notebooks in Poland because it's way cheaper there. And
dude, that was sorry about the emotional dump, people, but like this week has been this past few weeks have been a bunch of that in my head. Okay. Just me going like, what's good, what's not, and the truth is, the more relaxed I got about my life and then not being in control of everything, the easier the things got, and practically things just got better. So now I got a job in comedy in Switzerland in English, you know, and it couldn't be a better solution.
Yeah, and you are great at your job.
Yeah, I just don't have money. I'm just poor as fuck.
But that's how comedians should be. That's how comedians are.
I don't think that's how comedians should be.
No,
I think you can do both. I think you can be a good comedian and have money. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
You don't have to compromise on your happiness. That's the thing.
Yeah, true. But
just work.
And I think you're going the right way. Like pursuing what makes you happy. I think it's great. And that's what I will be trying to do.
You know what else makes me happy? Yeah? Belgian girls.
Oh, okay. Hello to the Belgian girls that we know. I know one for sure.
Shut up, dude. Shut up. I'm doing all right. I just wanted to do this shout out to make people uncomfortable who are listening to our four listeners. Okay. Yeah, I like Swiss girls too.
Okay, today we are not doing name dropping, but we are saying hi to all the girls that Richard likes, and Richard knows that the girls are listening to this stuff.
No, we have the boys that I like too. What about the boys I like?
Let me do a shout out to the girl that we both know. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Okay, another girl. Okay, anyway. We have common friends, okay? Inside jokes. We shouldn't do them. Okay, but I have the notes, and I want to say it's a dance. Podcast is a dance. This is what you said at some point. It's a dance. I really like this quote because I like dancing. Yeah, you do like. It feels like podcast, because there are two people. You know, we are interacting with each other. Mm-hmm. We try to interrupt each other's stories because I haven't been interrupting you enough. I'm learning. I'm trying to ask questions, and I'm like, before comedy, dancing was my big passion. It still is. I spend way less time now, but for a year and a bit, I was doing as much dancing as I do comedy now.
But like, what kind of dancing?
Lindy hop. So it's this music from...
Editor, put like a picture of people doing Lindy hop right here down here.
Yeah, I'm the editor, so let's see if I will be able to deliver. It's the music coming from Harlem, from like 20s or 30s or 40s, from the black communities, dancing to the jazz swing music in clubs. and it's such a fun dance, like, and it's now
That's awesome.
Like it's really popular around Europe, around the world. And and it's a lot of push and pull, and it's all about enjoying the moment together. And
that's the
podcast. And what I find also similar in comedy as I see in dancing is you have these two parties. So in terms of comedy, it's the audience and it's the comedian, and you were trying to please the audience. And I'm also trying to please the audience. I'm trying to just do what I think is funny, hoping that they react, but then I have to react to their reaction. I think this is really part of the comedy, the timing and
yes. And for the comedians watching this podcast, yes, we just figured that out. So so thank you.
So we figured out there is comedian and there is audience during a stand-up show. Hello, if you want to join my masterclass, by Łukasz Segiet, please.
I think on that note, for you to listen to this, go out there, dance, be yourself, be happy, learn that a lot of people in your life are in your life because they love who you are, and regardless of who you are, I love you too. So thank you.
Wow, it's a great message. Thank you, Richard. It was a pleasure. We are Brolish podcast, and we see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.